Joining me now in studio, trial and civil attorney Dante Mills is here, and via Skype, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor David Bruno is with us as well. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining me tonight. Truly appreciate it. And I'll start right there. And what I'll start with, Dante, is the blue lights in the community. And the reason I want to start there is because I think it's really indicative of just how difficult a case this is. Because the jury, they may be driving home, they're not sequestered, they may see the blue lights, but at the end of the day, what the blue lights represent is this sense of need for justice for Gannon, for a little child, an 11-year-old. And to me, that's the biggest hurdle here. You know, you may want to buy her act, and I'll call it an act, I don't know, she's doing a good job, I'm not sure, but at the end of the day, you got this 11-year-old boy on the other side, and to let her off, I think is really a tough sell.
But here's the thing. I think she brought that on herself because she made the community get involved in this. She told him he was missing. Truly, what I believe happened is whether...
But that was Letecia, not Maria. And I'm joking right now.
If you said it with a Russian accent, then I would have
then you would have caught it, right.
But she told everybody he was missing. I think, honestly, maybe he fell, hit his head. Clearly, he was there. The blood seeped through to the floor. So he was there. Was it an accident? And then she panicked and decided to try and cover it up and is now doing all of this to cover it up and see that through? Maybe. But she brought the community into this. She said he's missing. He was taken. So now everybody in this neighborhood is saying, it can be my child as well. I have to be a part of this process. So now that it turns out that she lied to everybody, now everybody is coming together against her. Yeah. But it's because she put everybody in that situation and made them emotionally invested in this case.
There you go, emotionally invested, because they were out there helping her as well.
Absolutely. They're walking through the woods and everything.
Walking through the woods.
And then you hear she lied to us. She really knew what happened. She knew he wasn't missing. We did all this for nothing.
Absolutely. All right, David Bruno, want to get your thoughts on the interview, what she's trying to pull off. A large percentage, I'd say over 90% of our viewers are not buying her story. They don't think the interview is very convincing. I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. Look, when somebody advances a defense like this, you want to look at what was her demeanor and her actions before and immediately thereafter. And unfortunately for this defendant, her husband, and many others, has no idea of the split personality or DID symptoms. And then immediately thereafter, like my co-host here, my guest says, is that, look, she lied. She took the community through this BS story when she had every opportunity. If she was what she was, and she says she is now, she could have came forward right off the bat. It would have been much better for her. Also, the expert evaluation and that interview, I mean, what an attack the prosecutor had on just the objective nature. It wasn't objective. It was subjective. And the attorney was able to sit right next to her during that evaluation. A number of just attacks on it, including the lack of corroboration that us attorneys want to see when advancing defenses like this.
Yeah, and the jury picked up on it. The jury questions were certainly zeroed in on exactly that issue. The confirmation bias part, the fact that it was a bit suggestive, the fact that the attorney was in there. I think her son was in there as well on the camera. So a lot wrong there. So certainly enough for this jury to say, hey, we're not buying that whole thing. I want to turn now to the Daybell case. We heard testimony today, a lot about Chad Daybell. Again, there's a lot of focus on Chad, but I think we've also heard a lot about Lori as well. But today particularly, where you talk about the issues with Tammy Daybell and the insurance, wanting to put Lori on, saying they didn't have kids, the Hawaii issue, all of that to me, Dante, paints a very clear picture scheme.
The common part, I don't know if what they're showing is that he was using those policies to live his life, right? And he wanted to continue to do that. But if he wanted to continue to do that, he could have taken the lives of those children because they were in his way. So if I'm the defense attorney here, I'm saying that's proof that he was the one controlling this. He started with his wife, and then he did it to my children and told me if I say anything, I'm next. Right? That defense is right there on the table for them. We know Chaddy's not going to testify, so there's no one that's going to be able to stand up and say, actually, it didn't happen that way, so the jury can buy into it. I think Lori needs to get on that stand. She has to say, where did I think my children were, and why didn't I say anything? She has to, or she will lose.
Yeah. And
so when she's standing up, she might as well say, he did it, and he told me, you know, even if I found out, or I thought he did it, and he told me if I say anything, I'm next, and that's why I didn't come forward.
Fair enough, but David Bruno, I've said this many times, you know, we try to get inklings of what the defense is going to go in the direction they're going to go based on their cross-examinations. They've given no indication that that's the way it should go. When we talk about what the best defense is for Lori, I agree with Dante. That's the best direction, but they've given no inkling that that's where they want to go with their defense.
Yeah, she's better off going with the DID defense at this point. I mean, in the end, you got her statements, and I think really when you're looking for the tie to tie her with this conspiracy, look to what she said about the zombies. Look what she said about them being possessed. Look at what she said about how to cleanse people that have been possessed. I mean, that's where the state came out of the gate, and now I could see why that was so important to get those communications from Lori out, because that sets up her being in the know and with the motive evidence. Then you tie in the hair, and I guess you could make arguments against the hair, but the hair on the duct tape on the body may be the thing that ties it all together.
Yeah, I think what really ties it all together is they are her kids. It's her job to protect them. If he came and killed them, she had to have known about it. That's how I see it, and I think a lot of people see it that way as well. All right, gentlemen, stand by. I do have to take a break. Later in our talk back.